On Valentine's Day of 2022, Brian Laundrie's autopsy report was made available to the public. If that name rings a bell but doesn't quite hit its mark, some context will be provided in just a moment. Before we get into it, I'd just like to give a quick update on what's currently going on with my channel. I'm working on a large-scale video about Ghislaine Maxwell currently, but for now I wanted to get this short video out on exactly what is being said about Gabby Petito's case. Now, back to providing some context. Brian Laundrie was Gabby Petito's fiancé. In late August of 2021, Gabby went missing around 1 month into a 4-month trip that the two had been taking together. Suspicion of Brian was immediately raised when he began travelling around in Gabby's vehicle and refusing to give any context to police or researchers which may have tipped them off about her whereabouts. Laundrie himself then left his parents' home on September 13th of 2021, only for his parents to report him missing on the 17th. 2 days later, Gabby Petito's remains were found, and sometime later it was determined by autopsy that she had been strangled to death, as well as having had several blunt force injuries to her head and neck. 1 month after Brian's disappearance, his skeletal remains were found at an environmental park near his home. Beyond a determination of death, there was no update to the case until January of 2022, when it was revealed that Laundrie admitted to killing his fiancée in his diary. When Laundrie's body was discovered, it was skeletal due to decomposition and animal consumption. However, it was also described as being on a walking and vehicular trail in plain sight. How did his body get to that stage of decomposition without being discovered sooner? Flooding had occurred in the area, preventing hikers from taking to the trails for several days. There is no explanation beyond this in the incident report. At the main scene, authorities discovered the following list of bones: a right and left scapula, a right humerus, a left and right femur, 2 fibulas, 2 tibias, 2 clavicles, 2 pelvis bones, a right ulna and radius, a sacrum, multiple ribs, 25 vertebrae out of 33, multiple skull fragments, the maxilla and the mandible. Alongside these remains, authorities found green shorts with a belt, a pair of slip-on shoes, a backpack with undetermined contents, a white metal ring, and a handgun described only as a snub-nosed revolver. The secondary scene had more items belonging to Laundrie, as well as some animal remains and a waterlogged note. On November 19th of 2021, DNA analysis of 2 segments of femur and 1 molar tooth confirmed that the remains were that of Brian Laundrie, who was 23 at the time of his death. Now to get into the actual autopsy report. Brian Laundrie's autopsy took place on the 22nd of October 2021 at 9 a.m. 103 bones were recovered that were confirmed to belong to Laundrie. Very little of these bones had any form of tissue on them. In fact, the only tissue at all on the body were very thin layers of adipocere, a greyish waxy substance formed by the decomposition of soft tissue in dead bodies subjected to moisture. In terms of cartilage, only small pieces of it remained on Brian's intercostal areas of his lower ribs. Most of the long bones had been chewed on by carnivorous predators. The skull was also in multiple pieces, as though shattered. In fact, this fragmentation of intersected skull fractures is what was determined to be his cause of death. The summary of the report all pertained to the findings of the skull's reconstruction. The extensive fracturing and cranial fragmentation is consistent with gunshot wound trauma. A single bullet entered the left side of Laundrie's temporal cranium before exiting through the opposite side. A toxicology report came back completely clean. However, one thing that has stood out for many news outlets and true crime lovers alike is the cause of death. Naturally. While the gun found at the scene is consistent with the bullet hole in Brian's skull, many find the entry point of the shot to be suspect. As I already said, Brian shot himself in the left-hand side temple. Or rather, this is what has been reported by authorities. However, Laundrie's sister has found this fact odd for one specific reason. Brian Laundrie was right-handed, with no possibility of having any form of ambidextrousness. While it's not unheard of, people with dominance in only one hand find it extremely difficult to maneuver the other, especially in terms of fine motor skills like pulling a trigger. That's all that was in the autopsy report, but if you would like to read it, I will leave a link in the description. Also, be sure to check out the petition and charity in the description, as well as like and subscribe if you found this enlightening. Stay freaky, stay informed. It may save your life.